Hi. So, good afternoon for all the Filipinos, to all the Filipinos who are currently here in the United States, and good morning to the Filipino teachers who are planning to apply, who are still in the Philippines, and who would want to uh, try applying in any post, in any teaching post here in the US. So, it's already past 5 p.m. I am Ethel, and I am currently at Arizona right now, Phoenix, Arizona. I just arrived last August 8th. So, just a disclaimer, this video shall be about the interview questions and answers that I have encountered and my colleagues have encountered during our application uh, as teachers in the United States. So during our application, we had a lot of interviews, we had a lot of questions, and some of these I am going to share with you today. Again, I don't have time to edit uh, the video, so I am doing this live. I hope that these questions will serve as your guide, and these tips will help you a lot in your interviews as well. So, again, just a disclaimer, I am no expert at this one. I just want to share because when I applied, I did not know where and when to start, how to answer the questions. Because it is quite different. The interviews that I have had in the Philippines, still the same questions as the ones that they are giving, but so far I have observed that there are cultural differences and language differences as well when you apply for uh, schools in the United States. It's quite different. Again, I am no expert, but I hope this will help. So to start, I would just want to let you know that pronunciation or English fluency is not really required when you apply as a teacher. It is recommended maybe, but it's not required. You can still apply as long as you know basic English, as long as they can understand you, then definitely you can and you have a chance. It's up to you how you handle yourself, confident enough to answer, or if you can give out the answers that they are looking for. And then when you go or when you attend an interview, please be 50 please be early, at least 15 minutes before the time starts. You have to open up your laptop, your computers, and wait for the host or the interviewers to join the meeting so that you will be very early or you will come earlier than them. It will also give them the the impression that you are early in class or that you give importance to their time as well. And please wear your casual attire. You don't have to be so formal, but it will, the impression. You just have to give them that impression. And okay, let me start. This is just so random. I just want to share the questions. I have prepared them, but just bear with me if I have like if it will take time for me to get my questions ready. So let's start. The first question that I have here is, tell me something about yourself. Even when you apply in the Philippines, anywhere you want to apply, you get this question a lot. And sometimes we start with our names, our age, and all of those stuff, but it's already in your resume. Well, basically, you just have to tell them your educational background and your experiences. Educational background, experiences, those are the two most important things that they want to know about you. Because it would definitely tell you as an app, more as an app, it will definitely tell you, it will definitely tell something or will say so much about you as an applicant. That's what they need from you. So the educational background and the experiences, the teaching experiences that you've had. So Is it good to share as well that I have taught online, that I have taught in the ESL or something like that? Well, yes, you can say that, but they are more on the classroom setting instructions or the classroom experience that you have had. So, next question is describe your teaching style. I don't know. This is live, so I did not arrange it. So it's up to you. If you can, if you have time to view all these questions, then please do. But this is just so random. I did not arrange the questions. So number two, describe your teaching style. When being asked, we all have different styles, and in the Philippines, I have seen a lot of good teachers. I know a lot of good teachers, but when you attend an interview, it would seem like I am I not good enough? Did I not answer the questions directly, or did I not please them with my answers and all that? Should I do something to impress them more? Well, when you are being asked to describe your teaching style, what they usually look for here is that how you handle your class, how you set up or structure your class every day. So they would appreciate it more if you are implementing or giving out routines, daily routines. If you if you use technology, you incorporate technology in your class, and they just want to know how you handle your classes as a in general, like misbehaviors. Uh, how do you prepare your activities? So those are the basic things that you need to tell them during the interview. At least I have given you some random questions, so you may also write it down, prepare for it. Before, when I applied, I felt like I'm confident because I just have to be honest. I had that thought in mind. But then during my third, fourth interview, I had to write it down, and it makes a difference. It will make a difference if you prepare for it. Like, I've been so spontaneous, but I learned to prepare, and it will help you, I tell you. So these questions, please write it down and prepare your own answers to these questions. So then that leads me to the next question. So your teaching strategy. Now, tell me how you handle misbehaviors in your class. In the Philippines, we are so used to become the we are so used that we are their second parents. And then in the class, if they need to be reprimanded, we do that a lot. We tell them stuff, we tell them to do this and to do that. But actually, what they are expecting from us is that if there are kids who are misbehaving, we cannot do that in front of all their classmates. So, what they usually do here, or what they usually expect for you to tell them, is that you bring out or you isolate, you tell that certain kid who is misbehaving to wait for you to talk to him later after class or after you have given the instructions to the whole class. You don't do that here. We can't do that. Like I know I can definitely relate that we need to tell them to correct their misbehavior, address it in class, but that's not how they expect us to do it. So you address or you correct the behavior of that kid and not that should not be done in class. You can tell them to wait outside or to meet you after class so that you can talk about how they misbehaved and how you expect them to correct their behavior. Next, well, this is kind of tricky, and I've had this question, and my colleagues had this question. If I were to walk in your classroom, what would it look like? Now, when I first heard this question, I thought, oh, so are they asking what my classroom, the physical classroom, would look like? But actually, I just learned that what they were actually asking is that what are they going to expect when they do observation or when they walk to your classes? So, first, I mentioned your classroom should be colorful, your seats should be arranged. I did that. But eventually I learned that I also have to tell them that you will see the kids who already know what to do because you assign tasks to them. You would see the seats well arranged. It depends if you have the table or if you have the desk. You can tell them I arranged them according to my activities for that day. Like for example, if you want to do the think pair share activity, then you should arrange your chairs according to that. And also, one important thing that I learned is that when somebody walks into your classroom, it would be better if you have your objective for the day written or posted in on the board, because every time your principal or your team leader would get in your classroom and observe, then they would be guided what you are doing in your class based from the objective that you have written on the board, or that you have posted on the board. Now, I also, personal, what I did, what I answered was also, I told them that you would see how engaged my kids are. Like I want to make sure that I'm preparing interesting activities for them since they are elementary kids, and if they are in high school, still the same. You have to prepare fun, engaging, and productive activities for them. And the interviewers would love that. They would appreciate that from you. Next question is, when can you say that the kids are learning? I was like, mm, I would know that they are learning if they were able to answer my activities, if they were able to answer my exams. But just like a discussion, formative, diagnostic, there are many types of exams. Now they want to know what type assessment that you are applying in class. We have exit tickets, wherein before you dismiss the class, they have to answer one specific question to check if they learned from your class. So those are just examples of assessments that you may give to your kids, and they would appreciate it if you have different assessments that you will give to your class. So next, well, I want to share these two questions though together. Like the first one is, why why do you want to become a teacher? And the second one is, why do you want to teach here? The first one says, why do you want to become a teacher? It's like an elementary level question, but it would really say something a lot about you. So you might want to you might want to share something personal. Like when I was a kid, I really loved to play school with my friends, and I want to be the teacher. I don't want to be the kid. I don't want to be the pupil in our drama or our role playing. I want to be the teacher. Or you can also say that you have like influence from your previous teachers or from your previous mentors. You can also do that, or from just random people, like, oh, I realized that I want to be a teacher because of this and because of that. You might want to get something personal. You might want to share something personal, but not too personal. Like if it's no longer, if it doesn't, if it's no longer about the question of teaching in a school, then you don't have to share that at all. And I would just like to add, why do you want to teach here? Specifically, they're asking, why are you applying in their school? So I have mentioned a tip earlier that you have to be early before you join, or while waiting for the interviewers. While waiting for them, you can actually do research, or when you first apply in on their website, please do a bit of research about the school. There are videos about the school activities. You will see the list of the employees that they have there. You will see uh, like a video tour of what their school would look like. It would help you so that when they ask you the question why you want to teach there or in their specific school, then you could tell them that you loved their activities, that you could bring something, or you can contribute something to their school because you already know. And it would also mean to them if you're gonna share your impression about the school, or something about their mission and vision. That would also help to answer the question why you want to teach there. Next, I have like four more questions that I've prepared. Next is, what frustrates you the most in class? So when you are being asked this question, it's like they're asking, what's your weakness? So you don't want to tell them that it frustrates me that the kids are misbehaving. It frustrates me every time they don't get a passing score in my exam. You don't want to tell them that because it will turn back to you, or it will go back to you, because that would also give them the impression that you didn't do something about it. So what you might want to answer with that question, what frustrates you, is that what I answered was, I think the schedule is a bit short, or the class period is a bit short. I want to make it longer since we have only 45 minutes here, and let's say I want to make it an hour. It depends upon the subject and your activities, because sometimes you have activities, you have prepared a lot of activities for one certain topic, and you feel like you're short of time. So something like that. But something that just make sure that your answer to that question will not go back to you, like it will not give a negative impression to them that you get frustrated because you can't handle your class, or you can't handle people around you. Next is, how do you motivate your students? I also got this question, and the way I answered it was, in the Philippines, we have motivation before our discussion proper. And some kids, since we have different types of kids, like the fast learners, the gifted children, the kids who need reading classes, remedial and reading classes, you might want to share that your motivation or the activities that you have prepared are like encompassing, or it's varied. It's for all types of learners, because one activity might interest the other, and one activity might not interest the others, all others. So you should mention that you have prepared a lot of it, and that your activities are fun, but it's not just fun, it is also engaging. And while they are engaged in having fun, they should also learn. Some kids would answer like, this teacher is my favorite because she's fun, he is fun. But being fun doesn't mean that they are learning. So they are they would specifically want you to mention about how the kids are learning, not just having fun. And it's one thing that I am working on right now, because I am so used to having fun with kids that it might give impression to others that you are just having fun, you are just trying to be friends with them, and that you are not doing or you are not giving your lessons anymore. So it depends. We have our different culture, we have our different values that we want to share to the kids. But during the interviews, you might want to list down the questions. You might want to give some answers that would structure your classroom. Like if you can make it perfect, kung pwede lang, so you can do that. Next is, how do you collaborate with other school staff? So, this would say something about your attitude as a team player, how good you can relate to others. So make sure you won't mention things like, I have experience that my colleague was like this, negative experiences. You might not want to do that. So just share with them how good of a team player, how flexible you are, what are your experiences when you were in school, how you worked with other teachers, especially subject teachers, and for special education teachers, you can share that you have worked with the therapists and the parents. So they would love that one too. The other question is, well, this is very common. How do you use technology in your classroom? Now, how do we answer this? I found it hard to answer as well because at first I was like, oh, I use technology. I use YouTube. I let them watch video. I use my laptop a lot. But actually, what they were asking from us is that the trainings that you've had, like you may mention your Google Classroom training. You may mention that you use Kahoot quizzes because that would give the kids time to learn online because we're talking about 21st century kids here. So technology is their thing. If you're gonna say that I'm not so used to technology, I don't use it a lot, it would give them the impression that you are not ready for 21st kids, 21st learning for these uh, kids, these Generation Z kids. So tell them that you have experience, you have used that a lot, and you have trainings too. Because professional development trainings, some some colleagues were also asked about that. Professional development trainings would also like help them save for trainings for teachers. So it would tell them that you already know what you are doing. Now, another one is the more sample questions that I can remember are application questions. Like they would give you a scenario. I can remember like five of them. So the first one that I can remember is that tell me something when something in your class, something went wrong while you were in class. So if you're gonna tell them that the other kid was misbehaving or you were not able to finish your activities, it will go back to you. So if you're being asked about something that went wrong in your class or about your weaknesses, you might want to tell them about something that is out of your control. For example, something that went wrong in my class was when there was a power outage. It's beyond your control. And when you're being asked that question, you should tell them how you get past that. So you tell them that there was a power outage in class. Well, instead of using the technology, since there is no power, I had to use my traditional materials instead, so that we will not miss any. We will not waste any minute of the class. That would give you extra points. How you get past that negative or that bad experience that you've had. Next was one question was also, if I see a kid crying in the lobby, and then what would they were asking what I would do um when I see a kid crying in the lobby. So I was like, mm, sometimes when you're too busy, you can't just do that. No, people would think like, kids just cry. It's normal. But actually, they're asking you to be empathetic, to give importance to kids. Because aside from their learning, teachers as we are required to be empathetic and to have compassion to kids. So you may answer like, I will approach the kid, I will ask him or her what's wrong, and then I'll tell him that it's okay, we can do this. You have to address the feeling first and then resolve or give advice to the child. You should not invalidate his feeling like it's okay, this kid is like that. You should not do that. Never invalidate their feelings. You should recognize it and give advice later on. Another question was also, uh, if a kid was reprimanded by the teacher because he did not have an assignment, and he was like crying outside of their classroom, what are you going to do? There are a lot of more questions like that, but what they want from you, excuse me, is to answer them how you handle these kids, because you have to show compassion too. I don't agree with the others who will tell you like, oh, they're not your kids. You're here to work. They're not your kids, so you should not give too much attachment. But it depends. Personally, I don't do that, but I have a lot of colleagues too that who are like that, and it worked for them. If you're like that, it's fine. I respect you, because it might work for you. What works for you might not work for me, and what might work for me will not work with you. So it just depends. It's case to case basis as well. But what's important is that during the interview, you have to answer them directly. Do not mention any other things that are not being asked about. So direct to the point. Next is be clear and concise. Don't took don't it won't it must not take a lot of time for you to answer just one question, because they have prepared a lot for you. And after your interview, if they will tell you that we'll just contact you, we'll just inform you this, it will only take them a day or two to inform you that you have passed the interview. Sometimes they would even tell you up front that congratulations, you have passed the interview. Please wait for further instructions and all of that. But if they tell you that we're just gonna email you the results, 95% of the time you did not get the job. I mentioned that in my first vlog as well. So if they tell you congratulations, then they were impressed, because here in the United States, they are quite impressed with how teachers, Filipino teachers, um, address the interview questions. But at the same time, if just in one question that you would be giving them answers that will go back to you as the facilitator, as the person in authority in class, it would it would make your interview go downhill right then and there, even if you were able to answer the next few questions perfectly. So, again, I'll go back to my first tip. Please list down interviews. You can also watch other videos. You can search online the other questions that might come out from interviews. List them down, list or write also your answers, practice your answers, because it would help a lot. Again, I did not do it before. I was kind of confident because I knew in myself that I'd be honest with their questions, but they are just looking for something. Again, perfect structure in your classroom. In the Philippines, I know that it doesn't happen at all, or it's not very common, but they are expecting you to tell them that. So it's up to you. This is just a tip from me. Again, I'm no expert. So if you want to succeed, I had to follow some tips from those who successfully passed the interviews as well. Even if I felt like, this might not work for me, but it will work. Practice the questions and the answers. Do not give answers that you felt like, this worked in the Philippines. Some things that work in the Philippines might not work for us here, especially during the interviews. After that, kung andito na naman kayo sa classroom, pwede nyo namang sundin kung ano talaga yung ginagawa nyo in the Philippines. Pero pag sa interview, just follow. Gusto nila ng perfect na answer. Gusto nila ng perfect na structure sa classroom. Kahit kahit na we don't do it a lot, they expect it in the interview. They're expecting you to give that answer sa interview. Kaya mag-practice na lang. Wag just follow this tip. I know it's hard. Kasi nga I did not follow that at first as well. I felt like, ganito ako, so why should I do this? And then eventually I learned that, ah, they want this to be perfect. So I don't know if it will work with you, but I hope it will. I hope these tips and guidelines that I have given will work out for you as well. Those are the questions that I've got during my interviews, and I did not end up in this job in my school in Arizona right now for my first interview. I've also had a couple of interviews before I got hired. Because at first, again, I thought that I can manage this, but not really. So the standard that we should follow is not the standard that we have had in the Philippines, but their standards. So again, practice your answers. Make it perfect. Magtatagalog ako para hindi nila maintindihan. So, kung kaya ninyong mag-share ng stories na napaka-perfect, or you can, it's funny, but some of my colleagues, gumawa sila ng stories or nag-share sila ng stories na hindi nila personal experiences, kundi experiences ng iba. Pero it worked. And then, you should also say like, in my classroom, I do this. Because it's giving them the impression na, she or he is like this in class. So you own it in my classroom. Those are just a few tips. I don't know. I did not prepare for a list of this, but I hope that you were taking down notes while I was talking because again, I'm kind of spontaneous. I'm not really I just want to share this because my friends, my classmates were asking me questions and I can't just address them one by one. So I'm sharing this video to you. I hope this will help you and I hope to see you soon here in the United States. In any state, I wish you all good luck. So thank you for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye.